Hi everyone. I love our community so much, and I wanted to share with you the results of a little quiz that we did a few days ago on whether you're living in the past. Now, I read this article. It was like 30 ways you can tell if you're living in the past, and some of them were things that I still do, but they were really quite amusing, some of them, but some of them were interesting, and I thought revealed a lot about, as you get older, do you stay with things that you've done forever and ever, and is it kind of a, habitual thing? And there are some that I think were just like, I definitely have moved away from those into something more technology focused. And so anyway, I want to share with you 20 signs that you might be stuck in a bygone era. Now, before I start though, I want to say there is nothing wrong with doing any of these things, that they're all fun questions to get you to think about it. And there's like no right or wrong answers. It's not like I'm going to be judging anybody. Like, it's not like that at all. It's just simply, are you doing some of these things? Because they're things that we did like 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, and maybe you're still doing them. So let's go through them. Okay, first thing, because the point here is I think there are opportunities that you may be missing if you're still doing some of these things, or maybe combine them. You can do them together. That's okay too. By the way, there's no judgment here at all for anybody. So just if you're still doing these things, feel free. It's no problem. So first thing, do you still use an encyclopedia for information? We had this set, I think, like, I don't know, 30 books. Encyclopedia Britannica. Does anybody still use an encyclopedia or go to the library and use encyclopedias for information? Okay. I personally don't. I've long ago given up carrying heavy books around with me all my life, but I move so much. But yeah, that's a good question for you. Do you still use an encyclopedia? Do you send personal birthday cards? Do you send a card or a holiday card or any kind of greeting card in the post with a stamp? Good question. I don't personally, but do you have WhatsApp on your phone? I mean, I honestly think that just about every person I know is on WhatsApp, and WhatsApp is a phone app where you can call free of charge pretty much anywhere around the world, and it's a really cool app for communication, for connecting. We use it all the time here on 60Me when we do a trip or something. We actually use WhatsApp, and it's a really cool way to stay connected, and it's like a chat, a chat box. It's really cool. Do you share paper business cards? Do you remember the days? I actually have some paper business cards, and I very rarely give them out, but I do carry them. So that's something that I continue to do for sure. Do you write people's phone numbers on a piece of paper? Yes, I do. I know that the easy way to do it is just to put it in your phone, but it just feels like I've got a piece of paper, I've got a pen, someone gives me a phone number, I'll just write it down, or email address. I'll use a scrap of paper to do that, if I can find a scrap of paper, because everything's on my phone. But you get the idea. Most of the time I use my phone, but I sometimes will do it. What about you? Do you use like paper? Do you write down on paper? I write to-do lists. I write my shopping lists on paper. Absolutely do that. I've started writing it on my phone because I check my mail, every sort of very frequently. So if there's something I need to get, rather than pull out the piece of paper, but I do put it in my pocket, and that's why I wear my cargo pants, because I have pockets that I can put pieces of paper in. Okay, call me old-fashioned, old school. So do you listen to music on vinyl records? I don't have a vinyl record, and I wouldn't have a record player, but there are some people that do. Our survey showed this. So vinyl records on a record player? Okay. Do you still use a fax machine? No, I don't use a fax machine anymore. Recently I have. I mean, back in the days of working, I did use a fax machine. So that's kind of an old, recent one that's gone away. Do you have a paper address book? I used to always like to buy like really pretty little address books, with flowers on them, and cover them with paper and whatever. But now I do actually have a couple of little notebooks that I keep, like website addresses and just kind of information. I probably should put it on my phone, but I do have a couple of notebooks, not an address book anymore, but I do have, that's all on my phone, but I don't have, I do have other notebooks. Do you write letters instead of email? Truthfully, I can't. Can I remember? Yes, I can remember the last time that I got some handwritten letters, and they're from people in our 60Me community. So people have sent me a letter, or at Christmas time, with a written note. So yeah, but I don't send any letters anymore. I really don't. I know I should probably. Anyway, do you enjoy board games and puzzles? This is old school games, right? I try to get my grandkids to to do puzzles and games, but they aren't interested. They want technology. They want Minecraft. But do you do that? Do you have any board games or puzzles that you still play? No, not online like Wordle and those, but actually in reality. Do you read the newspaper? Newspaper. Do you read the newspaper? We get them all the time on the train. I see them, people picking them up and reading them. I see a lot of people reading the newspaper here in Switzerland, but I don't read the newspaper myself. I always go online. How about you? I'm ticking them off. I think I've only got about 2 or 3 so far that I still do. Can you cook from scratch? Well, I never could cook from scratch. I never could even cook from a recipe. So that'd be hopeless. But there are people that can do that. They can just cook from scratch, and it's really, really cool to see them at work. So are you a person that can cook from scratch? I think it'd be fun. Do you prefer to go to live concerts or to watch them streamed on your computer? Well, I must admit, I have not been to a concert in a while, and I have live streamed opera and a few other things, especially during COVID. I did a lot of live streaming of entertainment then, but and I haven't really got back into the thing of going to, theaters and concert halls, and they're so expensive too these days, which is another consideration. But do you still go to concerts, or do you prefer watching things online now? Good question. Let's see. Let me make sure I've got my notes here. I think that's it. Oh, do you write people's phone numbers down? I got the one. Do you write checks for payment? Now, most places I know in the world do not accept checks any longer, but many people in our survey said they still do. They have like one person that requires a check payment. Their gardener or their rent company, even somebody said. So some people do have to write checks, but I don't know where you get them, because my bank, if I went in and asked them for a check, they wouldn't know what I was talking about, I don't think. So do you go to the bank to make payments? That used to be a thing. Do you buy paper maps? Yes, I love paper maps. I used to work at a store called Stanford's in London that sold maps, International Map Center and books and travel books. It was a great shop. Lots of memories there from strange things that happened, but it was really cool to set. And paper maps to me are fascinating. I love paper maps. And when I travel, though, I use Google Maps, or I don't use it for directions, but I do like maps, but don't use them practically. I don't have a car, so I don't drive like on a road trip. I think on a road trip it would be fun to sort of, draw your route out. Do you, let's see, buy paper maps, read the newspaper? I think that's it. Do you keep a handwritten diary? Yeah, those are some things that I think are just things that people either tend to do, or they put it on the computer now, everything. How much, I mean, I guess we could do like a little mini survey here and tell me, which one of these things do you still do? And do you still enjoy? Oh, I guess another one would be ebooks versus regular paper books. And I think I know the answer to that one, because I would say probably 70% of women say they prefer paper books, a book made of paper rather than an electronic book or a audio book. But those are just some things you might want to consider and define whether you're living in a bygone age, bygone, or are just good old school and you love being old school and proud of it, and that's no problem. But anyway, I just thought it was fascinating to think about things that I used to do all the time that I don't do anymore, and whether you feel the same way. It's quite fascinating. But leave your comments below. Tell us what you do in that little list of 20 that you still like to do that would be considered old school, and we'll have a chat. We'll have a conversation. Take good care, everybody. Have a fabulous day wherever you are, doing whatever your heart desires. Old school, new school, any school. Take good care. Lots and lots of love. Bye.